just going to read a short passage from my latest book, which is called Double Tap, as Janice mentioned. It's set in Detroit, which is a city, when I lived in Chatham, we sort of used Detroit as kind of the closest big city that we went to. So I got to know the city really well. Then again, my career took me there in the early 2000s to do work with General Motors. So I was right downtown. So again, I got reintroduced to the city. It's a wonderful town. Down in its luck right now, but has a lot of great restaurants and a lot of really interesting things to see. And I thought about when I was going to write a book that I really wanted to set it in Detroit. So the first book, Hair Trigger, follows, as Janice mentioned, the adventures of a couple of lovable psychopaths who are basically contract killers. They hit a niche market that they like, which is basically selling to the upper middle class. So if you can afford a Cadillac, you can afford their service. This is from a chapter called He Gives Psychopaths a Bad Name. Wilma laughed when I told her, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was a weary one. How did you manage to take a simple task like a contract killing and turn it into such a complicated thing? I just finished explaining about Joey Rosaldo's little problem. Tommy Seward? She laughed again at the mere mention of his name, and then repeated it once more in case she hadn't heard me correctly. In the somewhat tiny community of Motown contract killers, Tommy Seward was well known. In fact, he gave psychopaths a bad name. As a hitman, he'd always been out of control and wildly undisciplined. There was no subtlety to Seward. He was a full-on, blunt force trauma. With each killing, he got loonier. Finally, he went completely over the edge and was now certifiably batshit crazy. Since no one could hire him anymore, he went on a personal vendetta against the powers of oppression. Seward became a one-man death squad. The previous summer, he rode his bicycle past the Sidewalk Cafe in St. Clair Shores and mowed down 6 patrons with a machine pistol. Later the same week, he dropped a hand grenade through the open moonroof of a Bentley Continental while it was stuck in downtown traffic. The grenade went off in the lap of a software executive. Another time, he stole a live cobra from the Detroit Zoo and set it loose in one of the downtown hotels. But his piece de resistance was poisoning a keg of beer in one of the private boxes of a Tigers game. That one killed the top traders of the city's leading investment firm. If it had been any other place other than Detroit, Seward would have been apprehended within 15 minutes. But our Keystone cops can't even get a solid lead on his whereabouts. In the meantime, his stunts just get wilder and weirder. Eyewitnesses say he even cackles like a Batman villain. In the past, when Seward was mostly sane, he'd done a lot of work for the mob. I suspected that included turning Bobby Barbera into mush. But now he became a big-time liability for them. The mob needed Seward gone, along with the heat he was bringing down on them. Tommy Seward was the kind of target we hated the most, unpredictable. Before he went completely around the bend, he'd been a very resourceful and ruthless killer, and that made him an extremely dangerous adversary. He's attempting to make a warped political statement, isn't he? Wilma said. Seward was a man with a mission. He scared the living shit out of the privileged class. He appeared out of nowhere, did his mischief, and then disappeared back into the woodwork. How the fuck were we going to catch him? Just thinking about it made my ears buzz. Where the hell do we even begin to search for him, she asked. We don't. We make him come to us. Thank you.